Right, good evening everybody. It's good to be here. It's always very exciting to be up on stage talking about something so exciting, novel as digital video. I think everyone sitting in the room is either incredibly nervous about what to do with the space because it's such a difficult space to break into, trying to gain traction. You're either from agency or from brand, or you've had a look at a lot of content out there and are wondering how does somebody go about producing content that does well. So hopefully by the end of today, we'll get there. Today I get to broadcast to almost like a couple of million people every single day, working alongside the best in the industry with some of the greatest brands in the country. And it's just amazing to see how this was never the plan. Like where I am today was never part of the plan. But I knew it was something that I wanted to do and I needed to start somewhere. And so this is where I began. And so your journey with digital video is probably going to be something similar. We've all got to try and start somewhere. Today, I am the CEO of this really cool company. It's called Special Effects Media. We're the South African division. Our global partners, all of us together, have almost 9 billion minutes of video that we are users of, and 1.5 billion views on YouTube as well. And then subscriber base is over 7 million. And it's a very exciting space to be in with this company because our job really is to work with some of the most creative people in the world. And to play around with content, to come up with cool ideas, to gain organic traction, and to find brands who want to spend money on those as well. So it's a very exciting space. That's where I all began on youth television 8 years ago. And today I get to stand on stage, be a TV presenter, radio presenter, and also the CEO of just a freaking cool company in a really exciting time in the world of media. Why I did all of this was for two reasons. One, for control. I think the big thing for me was creators don't have control over their content in the traditional spaces. I worked for a production company for many years in Cape Town, and just a little example of something that happened to me while I was there. Have you guys ever seen a show on SABC2 called Bully Obira? No? Yeah, you all watch digital media. Good stuff. Good answer. You nailed it. There's a show on SABC2 now that is standing in between Note for Note as well. About 5 years ago, I wrote a show called Gesinsstrijd for SABC2. A white guy, doesn't speak Afrikaans, writing an Afrikaans show for a production company. 4 years later, after that show had already gone through the whole process of billions and billions of pieces of paper, forms, applications, pitches at the SABC, I got a phone call, no longer working with the company, to say like, hey, this show's been commissioned, we don't know anything about it, can you tell us more? Got workshopped without me even present, and now that show's on television 4.5 years later. It's amazing to see how long it takes to get content onto traditional media and how much of that control is out of our hands. As a creator, I've got no rights to that content any longer. I'm not involved with the production. I wasn't allowed to be involved in the production. And so creators are starting to lose control in the traditional spaces. To get content out there is a lot more difficult. So I wanted to bring control back to the creators. I think that was one of my biggest reasons for getting involved in digital. I've also known working with the SABC on multiple platforms. We all know what it's like to work for public broadcasters and even private broadcasters. There are limitations and rights involved. And we must learn to respect those as well. And digital opens up that freedom to do a lot more. So I think for me, the exciting part as a 27-year-old who's kind of, I feel like, reached my peak in terms of live television, there had to be a new space, a new door to open up. And digital was that door that I wanted to open. Entrepreneurs are another big reason why I started this company and why I feel like it's such a vital space to be in. All these people we'll be meeting Moyenne tonight. She's a digital entrepreneur. There is so much that's at stake when it comes to producing video. And young people are taking the risk and they're producing these brands of their own and they're making income out of it and they're doing some amazing things on these platforms. So I'm an entrepreneur myself, and there was just something exciting for me about telling these stories on digital media. It was such a big part of my life. So TV metrics suck and digital rocks, all right? It sounds obvious, like everyone's like, yeah, digital you can measure, TV you can't measure. But I don't know if anybody knows much about the way that traditional media, television and radio are operating when it comes to deciding on audiences. Who knows of the Nielsen method? Raise your hand if you've heard of Nielsen. Not many of you, okay, but a couple. So Nielsen is the way that traditional media is measured globally. We love Nielsen, but we also hate Nielsen at the same time. The idea behind television shows in South Africa is that 1,000 people in our country have got little black boxes attached to their television monitoring their usage, and that's extrapolating about 54 million people's usage of television in South Africa. Right, so when our show says we have 2 million people that watch our show, are 2 million people really watching my show? And what's scary about the way that these metrics are operating is that brands are buying into that. So they really are buying into those massive numbers and they think like, wow, 2.5 million people watch your show, but are they really? And how can you really measure that kind of interaction and engagement? In Joburg, slated traditional as a TV presenter myself, and I think I want to just quickly take that back for a second because there's a space for traditional. All I'm trying to get at today is that traditional is very, very inaccurate, and there's no way to be able to accurately monitor your kind of traction and engagement on the kind of platform. So traditional really is in trouble when it comes to measurement metrics, and digital is trying to crack open those doors to be able to do that a lot better. So brands who are smart and are really looking for proper engagement will look towards digital media and digital video to be able to really work out how well campaigns are doing. But yes, traditional does still have a role to play. So the traditional landscape is slowly but surely fading away for multiple of reasons. The talk tonight, you see, I'm used to being on TV. The talk tonight is basically learning about the digital media revolution. What happened and why is it in the space that we're in at the moment, and where's this going to go? Why is it called the revolution? And it's not because it's a trendy topic to have, it's not because it's something cool to say up on stage. It really is a revolution, and I'm about to explain to you what I understand the reasons to be and why we're in this position now where if you're not focusing on digital media, you will die soon, especially not in the video spaces. And it's for 4 reasons. Your company will die, you won't, obviously. 4 reasons. And I made this little acronym up for myself. It's called CLAY. The first one is because of choice. I don't think we're realizing the impact of choice. I don't know if you ever remember any of these shows. Raise your hand if you remember all of these shows. Yes. 90s babies. All right. I remember as a youngster, I really do remember as a youngster with my family arranging time in the evening for our favorite shows that would air on television on those particular days. We would be home from school, dinner would be prepared, and then we'd watch our favorite family shows together. The X-Files, Seventh Heaven, Friends, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Scrubs was also one of our best. Whose Line Is It Anyway? All these shows had particular scheduling times on television. And you guys used to sit down with your family and watch these shows. They used to be the go-to thing. And I remember a very clear shift happening in me when I moved to university, and I didn't have a television in my little res room. And I heard about these servers. They were very illegal, but you heard about these servers at university. You could download movies, you could download series, and it became quite a big thing. This dark black market of downloading series. And I remember when shows like Modern Family came out, I would watch the whole of the first season or whatever it is, way before my parents had even received the second episode of that first season on their favorite shows. And I would obviously give them a whole bunch of spoiler alerts, and I was not very, very welcome at home. But what was exciting for me and why this is so important for me was because that opened up the door to choice. I think the minute the internet opened its doors to the world, we realized that we weren't trapped to watching scheduled content any longer when it was decided that we should watch this content. We could go and find it when we wanted it, at whatever stage we wanted it, and whatever format we wanted it. So the internet has opened up a door to choice for us. And so television itself is not going to die because of any other reason other than because of the fact that it cannot deliver on the choice that is available to us online. And so this is why digital media is in such an interesting space at the moment, especially in the video spaces, because there is so much choice available to us. It's scary because how do you make your thing stand out amongst all the rest when there is so much choice? But it's just going to go to show why it is that traditional media is going to slowly fade away and digital is going to rise. We've got far too much choice available to us online. The second reason is laziness. So I don't know when last you teared up at a banner ad. I don't know. I don't know when last you probably, the guys that are involved in the media here have ever read a full press release and been super excited about the press release and be like, yeah, I get it and I love it, this is so great. You've kind of had to turn that into some kind of piece of content. Us as human beings, because of the scrolling nature of our lifestyles at the moment, working through all the social media platforms, are becoming incredibly lazy. And to be able to tell a story or to get me to buy into something that you like or that you want me to know, the best way to be able to do that for me right now is through video, because all I have to do is sit back and passively consume it. So I'll use an example here for you. This is an example, right? This is the brand new Mercedes-Benz, it's like a mommy van, right? This is showing you that it's got 360-degree cameras. Are you inspired? Do you want one? Hey? Right? There's images that you can post online. People like imagery, it's great. Text follows below. If I really like the image, I'll read the text. Obviously, you've got banner ads, you've got all the other sort of ways of communicating, written text, etc. Video has a much more powerful means to share exactly what you want me to know by spoon-feeding me what you need me to hear through telling really cool stories. So this is exactly the same thing I wanted to show you. This is the same car, but this is a South African ad that was produced, and I think it explains why it is that video is so much better. Tell me whether you feel like sort of super turned on by that image, whether this turns you on slightly more.
Ja, en nou is het thema. Ja, nie.
Ja, zurückkommen. Komm. Kleine. Ja, gut. Langsamer vorbei. 3, 2, 1. So ein bisschen, klein bisschen langsamer. Gut. Ja. 30, ja. Halt. Super.
Mercedes-Benz with German engineered parking system 360-degree camera.
So much easier it is to be engaged with content when it's being fed to you. You're being told all about the features. It's got a 360-degree camera, but they managed to tell it to you in a way that got you engaged and excited about the product as well. So brands are starting to realize more and more that we're super lazy, that to tell us stories, you're going to have to do that through video now, because there's no way that I'm going to read your copy, and there's no ways that your image is going to tell me all that I need to know. But in a short 30-second video like that, I can know everything about your product that I needed to know, and in fact, be super turned on by it, like be excited by what you've got to offer. So video is really powerful from that sense that we are lazy as consumers at the moment. Third thing that was really important to me was available technology. So before, companies were having to pay production houses millions of rands to produce adverts, these 30-second ads that would air on television. Yeah, they still cost that kind of money, and I know brands are still doing that kind of work. But what's so exciting about the world that we live in today is that once, I don't know if you guys remember when Snapchat obviously came out, was a really big deal, and then obviously all these other platforms that were producing these short form videos that you could create, Vine videos, like a big thing. What happened at that stage with the introduction of smartphones was that anybody got a chance to try point a camera at something and see what came out the other end, and to try and see if they could make that thing work for themselves. So young people today are the videographers and editors of tomorrow because they've had the chance to point a camera at something and see how it turns out. I don't think we've realized that kind of importance, that impact. That card no longer lies with production companies with million-rand cameras and editors internally. That can all happen through these young people who are making their way around with much better content because they're playing every single day with their smartphones and little SLRs that they're running around with. So the available technology for us as consumers, as sort of creators, has allowed us to produce content much cheaper. So that was a real big shift in the way that we started to see video production, because now the barriers to entry were a lot lower than they were before. If you want to think about it, what were brands having to do when websites were first incorporated? Not all companies, no SMEs could build a website. They were far too expensive to build. Same thing happened with adverts. No small businesses could have themselves afford a R1 million advert to air on television. It was a card that was held in the big corporates' hands. Now, because video production has become so much cheaper and there's a lot more technology available to us, producing video can be done at any stage along the way. You can point your phone at something for absolutely free and get video content out there. So the technology available to us is cool. I wanted to show you this. Okay, let me show you any more than that. This all was shot on an iPhone 7 and edited on a phone. There was absolutely no production involved in that, no cameras bought in, no rental equipment, no editors brought in to edit this content. This was purely shot on an iPhone 7 that somebody had put a track behind and edited on their phone. It's incredible to see what we can do from a production quality perspective with the limited amount of technology available to us. And I wanted to show you some of these examples of people in South Africa who've managed to build channels with very, very simple content, build audiences bigger than my television show. So one of them is Caitlin DeVille. You guys would have seen her in the email streams from Fred. Hope you read his emails. They're hilarious. Every line is awesome, so I hope you do read them. But Caitlin has got over 300,000 subscribers. She literally just has an electric violin and she does covers of songs and she posts them on YouTube. Her production is very simple. She shoots herself playing the same song in different regions, cuts them up, and plays this, obviously the music in the background. So people are there to listen to the music. The visuals are very basic. And her channel has got one of the strongest followings in South Africa in terms of content. And it's very, very simple production to put together. This guy, he's hilarious, Peter Carval. He has a channel called Six Pack Factory, global success, 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube. All he does is shows people abs and sit-ups and exercise routines, and he shoots them in a very, very simple, basic means. So it's amazing to see what you can do by pointing your iPhone at an ab and see what happens to your channel. It's pretty exciting. So there is literally hardly any production value. And his channel's got more subscribers than our show has of daily viewers. It's crazy. So that's not. I'm not even talking about engagements, people watching the videos. That's just subscribers, people who want to see this content regularly. Latest sightings you guys would have heard from. They're called Kruger sightings on YouTube. 700,000 subscribers. He gets a whole bunch of people to. He does zero production. People submit content to him, and he uploads it to his YouTube channel of sightings in the Kruger Park. And he obviously gets the rights for that content, loads it up there, and is gaining hundreds of thousands of views on those videos, millions of views on those videos of wild dog walking across the road. And people really, really enjoy that stuff. And he's put zero money in terms of his production to start up his channel. Cynthia Gwebu is one of our content creators, makeup as well. She's got just under 20,000 subscribers. She has a camera loaded in her bedroom that she obviously has beautiful lighting for, and she presses record on that camera, and she does makeup tutorials in her channel. There she is at the back, ladies and gentlemen. Cynthia Gwebu. And she's managed to build one of the most sustainable audiences on YouTube that we've seen thus far. People come back and watch 20-minute long videos on how to apply makeup simply because of the fact that she has managed to build this little production in her room. And it's done incredibly well. People like Nadia Jafta, who we're working with, and then you'll meet Moyin just now from the A1 as well, also building these incredible followings on social media platforms like YouTube, producing video content very simply. It doesn't take too much for them to put this content together, and obviously not having to spend R1 million a 30-seconder. We should be making R1 million a 30-seconder, but they're not spending that kind of money to produce this content. It's coming simply and easily. And don't worry about this, we'll try and get this sent to you. But just to show you that some of the things that you can do in terms of edit software nowadays, anyone can be an editor. There's a couple of cool apps that you can download on your phone. Filmora and Splice are two of them that we really, really like. You've got on your computer your Final Cuts. You've got Premiere Pro as well, which you can download, which is obviously a pay-for service. iMovie and Windows Movie Maker, which you've got on your computers free of charge to be able to use. Lightworks is awesome. It's free to download on the internet, and it kind of gives you a middle range between the two. So it's not as good as Premiere Pro and doesn't give you all of the other sort of features, but it's a damn good free piece of software to edit your own footage as well. So anybody can play, and because of the amount of technology available to us, we can do freaking anything in terms of producing video. The last bit for me that was very vital is this idea of young people. I don't think we've realized what's going on, and everyone always says like, oh, I don't want to produce video as my branded campaign because millennials aren't my target market. But what's so exciting, Deloitte just came out with a whole bunch of research. People between the ages of 18 and about 24 at the moment are buying their first televisions, and all the televisions they're buying are obviously smart televisions. They're no longer buying sort of normal televisions that they place, plug in your aerials and stuff to. They're buying smart televisions. So that audience now who are starting to consume content are only buying smart devices. They're not buying devices that stream traditional content. So it's very exciting to see that people don't want to really talk to the youth because they feel like that's not our target market. But all of those young people who are watching only digital content at the moment are not going to buy devices that can watch traditional media very, very soon. And so as they're growing and building their families, their households are going to have smart televisions, and so they're going to grow moving forward. So Deloitte did a lot of research into that, and I found the stats interesting. If you want the details, come chat to me, and I'll talk you through the actual research that they got. But the trend of young people watching digital-only content isn't going anywhere. Young people have far too much choice online. They know where to find what they want to find, and are no longer going to consume that in traditional media at the moment. So video protocol is going to be a very big thing moving forward. We've learned obviously that young people want to consume digital content. We've learned that traditional media doesn't know how to measure the kind of viewerships accurately. And if you've got all that kind of access to that content in digital platforms and you can measure it, you've got a very, very powerful tool. I'm going to go back to, no, I won't go back to that slide just yet. But the idea that we've got obviously amazing content that's going to do well for young people is one of the vital steps. 2, we're super lazy, so making sure that your brand message gets across to people in a super easy way. The best platform to do that is through video, and the most easily accessible way to do it is through digital video. Obviously, we're talking about technology that's available to us. Anyone can be a videographer and editor nowadays, and so it's super easy to produce video content. And then these young people that are making their way through the industry at the moment are digital first. They're not consuming all these other ranges of content. I know Moyin will probably tell you some more. But the idea behind our audiences on these digital platforms are not watching you on other platforms. We've tried and tried again. I've tried it as well, being a traditional media person, involved in television, trying to gain a digital audience out of that is almost impossible. Because the habits of somebody who watches traditional media is very difficult to break. But the habits of somebody watching digital media is what you want to try and tap into. So a lot of these YouTubers who have built massive followings are finding people to collaborate with in their fields of digital. That's how they're gaining their audiences. So you have to start somewhere.
Alright, so here we are with the elephants. Cool thing about these guys is that they have really, really, really long trunks. And that's pretty much all it is to say.
This, ladies and gents, was the first video ever uploaded to YouTube, ever. It was uploaded on the April 23rd, 2005, and currently has 48 million views on the video itself. It's terrible. It is terrible, terrible content. But what's so exciting about the digital platforms is you've got evergreen content that is going nowhere. The first video loaded in 2005 is still being watched today, and it's one of the most watched, well, clearly not anymore, but it's got a massive following on it simply because someone took the risk and posted something terrible on the platform and managed to find it. So scrollers and watchers are the big reason why our company exists on social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll talk about the algorithms tomorrow, and if anyone wants to know about algorithms on the platforms when it comes to video, please come chat to us or ask questions at the end. But the idea of video on these platforms is saying, like, let's reward video. You guys have all heard Facebook is like video first. But the way that a video is counted as a view on Facebook, 3 seconds. Anything beyond 3 seconds counts as a video view. YouTube? Anyone? Yeah, I heard it in the crowd there. 30 seconds. They only count a video view from 30 seconds. The scrolling mentality on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is what's going to obviously make your life very difficult in terms of trying to catch people's attention for long periods of time. YouTube doesn't have that kind of problem, which is why we've decided to be YouTube evangelists as opposed to just general digital video evangelists for the other platforms as well. Library content that lives forever is evergreen is where we want to be. What about data prices? A lot of people ask me this in Johannesburg. What are we doing about trying to lower data in South Africa to ensure that more people can watch content, especially in low LSM audiences? YouTube have decided to say, screw you, government, and they've decided to make their own way to limit data. So they've just released this they tried it out in beta in Africa, in Asia, and then they also tried it out in India as well. And they've just released it now. It's on Android devices only because they're consuming about 66% of mobile data in the country. And it's an amazing little device application. It's lightweight. It allows you to be able to download sort of videos while you're in Wi-Fi zones, or if you're on these cool data plans where you have nighttime or Nightcrawler, whatever it is, or those things that you get. It allows you to set a particular time that it must download in the middle of the night. So when you've got your free data, set it to download at that particular time. It'll download it in the resolution you want, and you can share with your friends without using any of your data. So it's really exciting to see what's happening in the world of YouTube in digital video. Obviously, if you are a brand or somebody individual who wants to kind of make waves in this space, now is the time. If you don't do it right now, you really are going to fall behind very, very soon. And the big thing that I want to say to you is you just need to start now. I mean, I had to start somewhere to make it onto television, and obviously we've got these creators who had to start somewhere to build these brands that they've got. When are you going to start your digital platform? So thank you very much.